Thanks for taking time to come on and chat to us, Rowetta. I was just saying to John there, is it too early for a Christmas mug?
Yeah. Always too early for a Christmas mug. Christmas is cancelled this year, isn't it?
Well, yeah, Santa. Like it looks like it.
Santa's isolating.
It's Christmas every day in here.
Yeah, to be honest, I was going to buy my dog's Christmas outfits the other day because I just thought, why not? Let's do it early. Let's do it now before everything shuts down again.
Yeah, because Santa, I think Santa's got his shield. I think Santa's shielding for the next couple of months.
Probably.
You can't risk it, really, can you?
So are you both in Scotland?
Yeah, we're up in just next to Glasgow.
Glasgow, yeah, you said.
Yeah, just out there.
One of my favourite places, Barrowlands, I love.
Oh yeah, it's great in there.
That's
you played in there before then, yeah. It's a great venue.
I played it twice, once with the Mondays, once with someone else I think we were supporting Ocean Colour Scene. But right. I mean, I played everywhere else probably, but I really do love, I love Barrowlands.
Yeah, some good vibes in there.
Last time I was at the Hydro, I think, with Hacienda Classical probably.
Oh yeah.
That's a good venue as well, but I really love the atmosphere of Barrowlands.
Absolutely massive in the Hydro as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
How did you find singing in there?
Yeah, I think I always find singing anywhere brilliant, especially now. I love it. I love a Glasgow crowd, to be honest. The Scottish crowd have done Murrayfield with when we supported Oasis. So Scottish crowds are always the best, but Glasgow specifically, and that's the truth. I say it in every interview when they say what's your favourite gig. I always say the crowd. I think we all say it though from Manchester. Manny says it from the Stone Roses. Yeah. He always says Glasgow, and I went to Glasgow Green to see them, and it's just the atmosphere. Ireland's pretty similar, Dublin, and. Yeah, lots of places in Ireland are similar, and Manchester, of course. But it's hard to beat Glasgow. It's like a football match.
Music up here.
Say again?
We appreciate the good music up here.
Yeah, it's like a football game though. It's like you play a tune that they love, and it's like you scored a goal. It's brilliant.
And we're also very, very drunk half the time as well.
Well, so are we, aren't we? From with the Mondays.
Just a big party.
Yeah, that's it. We like a good party. No, the Barrowlands is a Glasgow institution. That's a bit of history right there in Glasgow. What a legendary place. That's
where I would love to play again, to be honest, out of all the places anywhere in the world. I always mention Barrowlands. And I don't think I played it since, in the 90s probably. But I just remember it as I hope it's still the same. It was
it's not changed one bit. Like, honestly, It hasn't changed a bit. Even the paint on the wall is the exact same.
That's what I like that though. It's same with Brixton Academy is always, the building stays the same, the dressing rooms are shit. But it's just a proper gig and with a proper crowd and no sitting down and going, come on then, entertain us.
Did I see somewhere, Rowetta, you were working with Paul Weller written somewhere?
Yeah, it's done. The tune with Paul Weller. It should be out soon. It's just lockdowns put everything back. It was supposed to be out in the spring. Really? Noel Gallagher's on drums and bass. And me and Paul Weller are singing. Really? And Steve Craddock's on guitar. And it's Gary Cobain's project. He's Future Sound of London. And it's called his project's called Amorphous Androgynous, which is really easy to say. Get it wrong every time. But he's just released the thing that's coming out before the one with Paul Weller and me. So it's 3 years ago we started it. It's one of them big projects. It's even got Kate Bush's nephew on violin. God, but it's it's epic. It's probably going to be about 8 minutes long. It's called Mantra or Crossing Over. It's one of those double titled tunes, but it's a bit like Tomorrow Never Knows by the Beatles. I love it. I'm not going to swear, but I love it.
The only reason I ask is because I seen Paul Weller in the Barrowlands like about 10 years ago.
Oh.
So just when I noticed that's when I seen him. It's probably one of the last concerts I seen in there, and it was him in there. So just the fact you're working with him is phenomenal.
Well, I always wanted to work with him. I've always been a fan. Having said that, the last time I saw him live was at the Apollo in Manchester, and he did play what felt like about a 3-hour guitar solo of a tune I didn't know. And he didn't play any of his hits that day. So, fans go to see what they want to hear your hits. And it was a bit like being in... it was good for about 10 minutes, and then you go, play something we know. Stop it now, because it really was like just a jam with a band, which is really fascinating for a bit, but it went on and on and on. So I like him when he plays his hits, because he's got so many hits. Stop it. Sorry, my dog's attacking me. Pack it in. Jay, you're a good boy. No. Biting. Sorry.
You got a dog with you?
He's a puppy. I've got 2 with me. Stop it.
Oh, yeah, wee puppy there. I was thinking about getting a puppy, actually.
Yeah, well, my dog passed away. One of my dogs passed away on June the 9th, so it's been locked down. I nursed him all through. And then I couldn't really cope without having the 2. and I missed him so much. So it's really helped me getting the puppy. It's just because he bites me. Stop it! He's not really biting, but he loves attention all the time. So it's
learning.
been brilliant.
He's learning.
Yeah, stop it! Come here, Jay.
He's learning how to be a pain in the ass.
Because I'm not talking to him, sorry.
Yeah, it always seems to happen when we get a guest on, an animal always seems to start attacking them. So I don't know what it is about our show, but
it's been sat really quiet. It's literally because you're not giving him attention. Sorry. Stop it! Jay, I'm not playing.
You still want a puppy, John?
Yes.
I love them. I couldn't be without them. But because my kids are grown now, and I love it. I love coming home to them when I've been on tour. It's fantastic. My son's in his 30s, so he looks after them, so I don't have to worry. But coming home to them, it's like coming home to your kids, but you don't really have to talk to them if you don't want to.
They're always so happy to see you as well.
Oh God, they love it. It's it's brilliant. I just love it. I really do love dogs.
I've never had a dog before. It's something I've always wanted, but it's on the list. It's something I'm going to get at some point. Yeah.
You've got me, John. Well, I'm like John's got a pet.
It's not as you don't have a tail.
You do have tails, but the wrong way. It's stuck in the wrong way.
Yeah, I'm the wrong way around. Not a tail that you know of, John. Not a tail that you know of.
Actually, I shouldn't presume you might not have tails. You don't know anymore. You're not allowed to say anything about anything. Stop it! Jay, behave yourself. Sorry.
So have you been keeping yourself busy through lockdown, Rowetta? You still singing away?
Yes, the busiest I've ever been, to be honest. I've been singing this morning. I was doing something for Solardo, who are massive now. So, I've been working with all the people I want to work with. I've done through lockdown. Todd Terry, I've got a single out with. Jodie Harsh, they're out now. I've just had one out with Kenny Dope. They're just massive names. And it's like, because it's lockdown and nobody's on tour and nobody's away. I normally I'd see them in Ibiza, all these people. And we're just messaging each other and saying, hey, do you fancy doing a tune? And you're like, God, yeah. And I went to Verbier last week in Switzerland singing with a couple of lads called Verses. So I've really not stopped, and I did one yesterday. We've got the final mix that's going on Solardo's label with a guy called Dylan Nathaniel, who's amazing from LA.
Oh, right.
I've just really not stopped. I've not done it with the people that people would think I'd be working with. Not done work this time with any Manchester bands or anything, apart from the Paul Weller track that's coming out. It is really more house music and dance music. Apart from, I've done one tune with an orchestra in Ibiza called the White Island Orchestra, called Everything is Beautiful, and that's just gorgeous. So I can't wait for that to come out.
When's that one coming out? That sounds like
we don't know. It's all because of lockdown, because we missed the season in Ibiza. I went over there twice, where really I would have been promoting the single. But we've just put it back because of the season and took our time, because it's an orchestra playing as well. They can't, because of social distancing, you can't they can't rehearse, they can't practice. So all the parts have had to be done separately. So it's a pain in the bum, really, but it's coming. I'm going to redo a bit of the vocals because I think it's so special. And I'm going to do redo the vocals probably tomorrow for that one. But not for any reason, really, just that we're taking ages doing it. So, But I'm just I'm really lucky that I've got a studio at home, so I don't have to move. And and I literally wake up in the morning and start singing and writing. I have a microphone set up next to my bed. So it's just been perfect in that respect, and I loved it for a bit, and then you just get fed up of it, don't you?
Yeah.
So.
It's amazing to see how productive people have been during lockdown and just trying to make the most of their time and just make try and turn it into something more positive, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've been productive, lots of creative people, but now we can't see an end in sight. It's starting to get frustrating now, because now I can still work with I've worked with all the people I want to. There's nobody left. Most of the other people I want to work with have passed away. George Michael, David Bowie, Prince. They're not here anymore. So I'm running out of people to work with in this lockdown. And even though it's not proper lockdown, it is pretty much. There's no gigs for us at all. They've had these social distancing ones, and some of them are good. And I was hoping to do a couple of them, maybe with Bez. But we're very touchy-feely people. We'll probably get in trouble. And but we did have one booked in for March that was put back to November. That looks like it won't go ahead now till next year, which I'm gutted about.
Yeah, but, it's getting quite frustrating now, isn't it? The longer it goes on, it's just.
It is, because there's no date there's no date where it'll happen again. And I'm starting to think it's not going to. We've got a gig. Our next Happy Mondays gig is January the 9th, Paradiso, Amsterdam. It was the first gig to be cancelled, and I've just been asked, if it doesn't happen, will I be available in January 2022? It's just, because it might not happen. And it's like, I've been looking forward to that gig for so long, because I love Paradiso in Amsterdam. And this year we should have done Glastonbury.
Yeah.
We should have done Isle of Wight Festival. We've probably got a good tour coming up next year with another band. I'm not going to can't say who yet, but that'll be the end of the next year if we're allowed to.
Well, even if that's 2022, I'm sure it'll definitely be worth the wait anyway, getting to play in Amsterdam.
Yeah, but it will be worth the wait, but you can't, everybody thinks everybody's millionaires and all this lot. We can't live on nothing. I don't know what people, a lot of people, the lighting guys, the crew, all that lot. We've got a whole team of people working for us, and people are going to have to start getting proper jobs. Even myself as well. Whatever you do, I'm all right because I write songs, but I probably won't see the money from those till next year. To be honest, from sales, the money is in gigs and performing, and without that, it's hard because I don't demand money for. I do a lot of deals where I don't get loads and loads of money for performing on records. I'm trying to be a bit more upfront with that now and ask for more and make sure I'm 50-50 and stuff because I write everything. But I never used to bother about the money. But nowadays, we are really going to be skint because we're living on everything we've earned over the years. And everybody, it's like you see these DJs, but they've got big houses. They've usually got a load of kids. They've got expensive wives quite often, and or expensive husbands, and so you have a lifestyle that things. It's just not fair when you've worked hard, whatever job you do. It's not fair that it's all going to come to an end. I mean, it's nobody's fault really, but they're going to have to support the entertainment industry. Or I really do think there will be some kind of proper riot because I don't know what telling us to get proper jobs is just. Taking the piss because if you train to do a proper job anyway, and a lot of us, I'm too old to be starting something new really, but if we train to do a proper job, it'll take a job of somebody else who's really good at that job. I've just spent 40 years doing what I do. I'd be going training, say I wanted to be a drama teacher, I'm taking a drama teacher's job away, and who's somebody who's really well trained, and I could just be going in there because I work with Happy Mondays and I work with all these things, and it's just it's horrible.
It's also the fact that you're so used to touring with the guys for the Happy Mondays, and then you spend a lot of time on the road. It must be strange to have spent this time away from each other as well. Like you say, you're probably very close.
We are, especially me and Bez, but I mean, I have seen him, but it is completely different touring. But we did do a 30-date tour at the end of the year, and we toured Australia and New Zealand last year. So I didn't mind having a bit of a break away from them, to be honest, because I'm the only girl. And the tour bus is great, but I love coming home. The thing I've missed most this year, though, is the gigs in Ibiza. And, I always go to Ibiza and do a load there and then come back with the band. And me and Bez had a gig at Hard Rock Hotel, Children of the 80s. And I was trying to get this gig for ages, and we managed to get the gig June the 19th, it should have been. Right. And then this happened. So hopefully that'll happen again next year. But I've been to Ibiza twice, and it's just, you have to wear a mask in the street and you're boiling. And most of it's short. My plane landed at 12 and everything was closed. So I don't mind there being no clubs personally, because I don't mind going to bed a bit earlier and stuff. But it's just the devastation and all the people who work and live there. It's ruining people, and it's when everyone gets disheartened because you just can't see when it's going to end. It's just dead sad.
It's what a crazy year! What a crazy year!
It makes you wish you did something like my son he's worked all through it because he does promotions in something. I can't say where he works, but he's got a job where it's classed as a key worker. So he was able to work, and he had a few days off because he had a bit of a cough at the beginning of it, and he couldn't wait to get back to work because it's boring. And it was like, God, I was so jealous, thinking normally I wouldn't want to do a 9 to 5. He does 3 till 9, which isn't so bad, or 12 till 6. So it's not that bad his hours. But normally I wouldn't want to do the same job every day. But I was so jealous of him, thinking, God, I wish I had one of them jobs because you just want to get out of the house a little bit, and see people. I don't mind not hugging people. It gets on my nerves when I do go out. People go, "Oh, I just want to hug you." They don't even know me. or they want selfies. It's just stupid, because we do have to keep a distance. Manchester's got the worst, supposed to be in the country, the worst rates in the country, and that's because nobody's wearing the flipping. They're not doing what you're supposed to do, and it really annoys me. It's for the old people. We've got to really respect the old people. Cause I've seen old people won't come in the shop because people haven't got masks on. Just put a flipping mask on for them.
Just suck up.
Did you say you were in Switzerland as well recently, Rowetta?
Yeah, just over a week, about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, and it snowed. It was beautiful. Verbier. I've never been before. I kept saying to them, I've never been to Switzerland before. And then this guy who was the chef where this hotel I was staying, He went, "Oh, I saw you in Geneva in '91, and I've been telling everyone for 2 days. I've never been to Switzerland." But
crazy tour.
yeah, European tour. So with the Mondays, you wouldn't remember, would you? So yes. So it's funny, but I loved it. It was different, but I couldn't breathe up in the mountains.
Yeah, it's lovely over there, though.
It's gorgeous, but the altitude, I'm not used to. I'm scared of heights, so I never go high. Yeah. But honestly, I could, because I went to sing as well in the studio, and I couldn't breathe, so my voice was absolutely wrecked. Yeah. I did a happy birthday to Alan McGee, it's Glasgow, isn't it? Alan McGee, I think. Yeah. So I did a happy birthday because he's 60 the other day. So I did a video, and didn't realise I'm like that. Happy birthday, Alan. I was awful. I really do. So I sound like Bo Selector doing Mel B or whatever she's called. But,
did you try the yodeling when you were over there?
No, I didn't. No, people said I was singing in the streets. It's really weird. I could sing in the mountains in the streets because the reverb in the streets with the mountains and all the wooden buildings.
Switzerland's just another world, and it's so beautiful, isn't it? It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. That Verbier, I think they were saying the cheapest houses there were 10 million or something. Oh, yeah. We were really lucky because our friend, he owns the hotel there. So, and he used to live in Manchester, so he's got a studio in Manchester as well. So he sent for us to go over and do some stuff, which was just really, really lucky, to be honest.
Yeah. And
and just this beautiful hotel called the Fahrenheit. So it was great. But again, there weren't a lot of people wearing masks over there because they were all going, "Oh, we've all had it." So I was a bit worried that I was being careful though, and I only had one late night as well. So
what was it? A gig you were doing over there as well?
I was just singing in the studio.
Oh, okay.
Just recording because there's a studio there, but it's a studio in Manchester, so I could have done it here. But
me and my girlfriend actually drove to Switzerland. We drove at the end of last year, and when we got there, had to pay a year's road tax. We just went over the border, and we I thought it was a toll just to get off through a bridge or something. And
why do you have to do a year's road tax? Because
did we get robbed? Are you going to tell us we get robbed?
We just visiting,
right? Yeah, just passing through.
Wow.
It says you need to pay a whole year's road tax. We thought we're only here for a couple of days.
Oh, because it's not Europe.
No, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, but it was probably just some random at the side of the road wanting to rob us, to be fair.
That could be.
Nobody that drives by.
It is different, though, because it's not Europe, it's Swiss francs and all that. So,
it must
that's probably what it is, because you can travel through Europe without all that, I think, but not probably Switzerland.
Other than that, beautiful. Other than getting robbed, it was a beautiful country to visit.
Yeah. But it'd be lovely to drive through. Sorry, I'm interrupting. I'm not hearing you as loud as I could. Go on.
Oh, sorry. Just sorry to kind of take it away from this, Rowetta. Just taking it back to your early days. Then, what inspired you to get into singing? What was your influences way back when you were going to want to become a vocalist? Then.
I didn't want to be a singer at all. I was never encouraged to. I just used to get told to shut up all the time. I didn't take it seriously. I just would sing along occasionally. And I hear all these singers that came out singing out of the womb and all that, and it didn't happen for me. My stepsister went in for a talent competition, and I went in to keep her company. And I just got all this attention when I did it, and I could play a few chords on a guitar. So that's when I sang a comedy song, and I won this competition in Butlins.
Right.
But up till then, I didn't get in the choir. I think that happened with Shirley Bassey because I didn't sound like all the other kids. Yeah. But I was told to mime when we did a nativity musical.
Oh my God!
It was about when I was about 13 when I started winning lots of talent competitions.
Yeah.
And realising you could win £50 or whatever you'd win, and so I'd enter them and win, and I very rarely would lose. And then once somebody told one of the teachers at school that I've got this voice, so they started to do musicals around me for the last 2 years, which was great. And I used to WAG school, but I would only go in for drama and to do the musicals, and that's the truth. I would never go to lessons the last couple of years. It was just everyone who knows me from school. I didn't go in. I would just go, I've got to go in school this afternoon for an hour after school because I've got to rehearse my musical. And I used to get away with it anyway, so I just used to carry on.
John used to do that. We used to just skip school and go buy records, didn't we, John? Just go up to Glasgow and just not go to school. Yeah.
I used to go in though, but I was really cocky. I'd go in for registration, then walk out, and then spend the day in town with the lads, and then rush back to go and do my musical.
Yeah,
really cheeky.
That's pretty much exactly what we did, but we didn't rush back.
Yeah, you've got to go into registration. Yeah, no, it's only if I didn't have the musical, I would never have gone back. But like my mum used to write notes for me and everything. She's a bit bad, really. But yeah,
that's a good mum. That's brilliant.
Oh, I used to have to forge it sometimes, but never mind.
And then was it all? Were you just right there with the hacienda? Was all kicking off. That was a great time in music, wasn't it, for the British scene? Really, were you just writing about that? Just good timing, really.
It was good timing. I was a little bit later than the others because I think it was the late 80s, really, 89 and stuff, 88, 89, the Summer of Love. And I went in probably around that time, 89. I was in a battered wives' home, though, me in 87. So it took me a couple of years to get on my feet and everything. And then I first went into the hacienda probably 89 and loved it, but didn't know anybody. And I just wanted to know everybody. And then a few months later I did, because I was with the Mondays and I knew everybody and I was that girl I wanted to be, so it was great. But it was fantastic, a fantastic couple of years in hacienda, and then it went horrible and I stopped going because it was violent, it was nasty, and people on the door. So it was good for the couple of years, but I wish I'd gone maybe a little bit earlier, but everything works for a reason. I wouldn't have been in the Mondays back then. So
how did you get started with the Mondays? How did that come about?
I told the story a lot, so I won't go on and on. But I was just a fan, and I used to sit in the office, and because their office, Mundy's office, Nathan McGough, his office was next door to my manager's office, who was Elliot Rashman from Simply Red. And so I literally dropped the kids off at school and would go and sit in the office and get to know everybody. I'd not met Sean until probably the day before we did GMEX. Even when I did Step On, I'd still not met Sean face to face and said hello. But the rest of them I did. Yeah. There's my dogs. But so it's I wanted to join them. I told the manager I wanted to join the band, and he was saying we're not looking for a girl. They weren't looking for a girl, and I just knew I'd be great with them. I thought it'd be like T-Rex, the voice. I thought my voice would be great for them. And then I gave Nathan a ticket to come and see me in Legends, which was across the road from his office, to come and see me. I was with this 12-piece band. With quite a lot of like people from Simply Red and other bands in the band, and it was just a one night only. And he just said after the gig, "God, you're mad! You're madder than the lads." And I had this little fur coat on, and I was pouring whiskey on stage and drinking it, which I still do a bit. And and he just said, "You're madder than the lads." And then I didn't hear anything. He still didn't want a girl in the band. And then 2 weeks later, I think it was that. Elliot, my Simply Red's manager, who was my manager, he said, "Are you sat down?" And then he told me that I've got to go to London and go and see Paul Oakenfold and Steve Osborne, who I didn't know who they were. And to go and sing on Step On. I think the lads were away then as well. I think they were in Sitges, and that's when they ended up Spain, and it was on tour. So they ended up doing the video in Spain for Step On after I'd done my vocals. And I couldn't be on the video because I had a gig in Manchester. So we tried to film my bits on the roof in Manchester, but I can't do heights. So they had this big lamp that they pretended was the sun, and that set fire. I wouldn't go and stand and lean out of the roof, so we had to give it up. It was like the lamp was on fire and I was screaming. So I'm not in the Step On video. I'm only in the American or Japanese ones. Stop it!
I was going to ask you as well, Rowetta, how did you keep Sean and Bez in line? But I think they were probably keeping you in line by the sounds of it, aren't they? Yeah,
we're all as bad as one another, to be honest. I like partying. Nowadays, it's just me and Bez do it, really. So it's only us. Mark Day likes to drink, but yeah, it's just me and Bez that stay up all night, and everyone back to our room. We're still a bit like that, but we have club nights. But I'm just like one of the lads. And I had kids at home, but they weren't on tour with us, so we would only go on tour really a couple of weeks at a time, maybe 3 at the most. And if we were in the UK, we'd manage to come home in between. But the longest tour we did was America, was about 6 weeks, and that was too long to be away. And I must have left the band about 5 times arguing with Sean, but always pack my bags, and then I'd have to get I'd have to pull a lad to come with me to the next city in America to help me with my bags. And then dump him somewhere. I did that. I picked one up in Denver. It was gorgeous. But then when we got to Wisconsin, it was time for him to go.
That is survival. Survival on the road.
Yeah.
You must have some great stories to tell from all the touring.
I don't really like telling them, though. I might do a book one day, but until then, I don't think it's cool sometimes to tell all the stories. And also, Sean and Bez do a lot of. Well, Sean's really good at storytelling. Not always true, but he's a great storyteller.
What would you say some of your highlights then, Rowetta? Would you say and some of your best highlights looking back then?
They're just all the gigs that have been brilliant. I've got loads. As I say, I'm probably going to save it all for my book when I go right into detail, but because I do keep trying to write books. I've been asked for years, but I find it too hard. The serious stuff is a bit hard for me to write. You know, even like with me, we fell out for a bit, the Mondays. I fell out with Sean for a bit, and Sean fell out with... But I'm not going to go into details on that. That would be more in a book, probably. But I'm just glad it's all great now, because it really is. We got back together in 2012 for one gig, and we're still together now, and that's amazing.
I think it's time to write a book, Rowetta. There's no better time than right now, is there? Because we've got all that time.
No, I get too distracted because, honestly, I get distracted by the music, and also because people think, oh, yeah, that'd be a fun book. It would be if it cut out the real gritty stuff. But, you know, I've not had a really good life, so it's difficult, you know, and I don't want to hurt my mum. Because my mum's still living, and you don't want to. So I'm thinking, should I wait till my mum passes? But it's horrible things to think. So I do get upset. But I've written loads of it, and I speak loads. I've written loads down. And people wanted to do it with me because they all want to make money out of it and stuff. Because Sean's done a book. I think Sean's done a few. Bez has done a book, and it'd be good from a girl's point of view. It won't all be about the Mondays, you know. And then and I've got friends who have done a really. One of my best friends is Martina Cole. So you know, I know it's great if you can get your head down and get your head writing a book, but because it's my life, it's a bit hard.
Yeah, definitely. But it sounds like a really positive time for you now. I mean, what you're getting stuck into now is like you taking charge of your own. Like you say, you don't want to, I think I said somebody didn't want to be looked at as a background singer. You want to charge forward to the forefront and be respected, and rightly so.
Yeah, because I've never been a backing singer, even though if I backing sing with a band, it's because I like the band, because I want to, because I think I'll make it better. Yeah. I've never, because I just don't like doing sessions where I would do backing. There's better backing singers than me that are happy to, you know, to just compliment the singer. But it's because of my love for the Mondays that I sung with the Mondays. And I wouldn't call Gloria from T-Rex a backing singer. She's a great singer. Then it just really annoys me that they really do only say with black girls, really, that the backing singers that are really good singers, because they don't say it with Talisa from N-Dubs or Fergie from Black Eyed Peas or Anna from the Scissor Sisters. They don't say that with them. So I forgive people for back in the day, or they don't know the Mondays. But it's like calling Bez a backing dancer. There's no need to say backing. You might as well say blacking. It really pisses me off because it is a bit racist saying it. And so when I tell that people still, I'll do an interview next week and someone will say, so it must be mad being the backing singer of Happy Mondays. And it's just ignorant of them. I'm a singer. So, you know, but I understand, I don't go mad at people. I just correct them and say, you wouldn't say it to Fergie. I mean, I've sung with Black Eyed Peas. I'm on Boom Boom Pow. I'm not a backing singer. I'm all through Boom Boom Pow. And #1 in America for 12 weeks. I'm not a backing singer. But people will call me one, but not Fergie from the bands. That's wrong. Yeah,
definitely.
No, so I'm trying to make it right. And I keep going on about it, but it's a lot easier now though with social media, and I'm online a lot. So it's a lot easier to correct people. And when I do interviews with people, tell them, can you take that out and don't use my surname? And sorry about that. Don't use my surname and things. Because people don't know, it's not their fault. I don't get angry. I only get annoyed if they keep saying it. Or if they put it... It's a shame, I think Chris France from Talking Heads and the Tom Tom Club, he and his wife, I love them, Tina Weymouth, they produced the album Yes Please. And he was writing about in his book recently about the whole experience, and he gave me the biggest compliment, you know, saying Rowetta was an exception, she was amazing, you know, having worked with the band, remember when they went to Barbados and everything. And it all went sits up for Yes Please. So he gave me this big compliment, but he said Happy Monday's backing singer was the exception. So I didn't reprint, I didn't post it what he said, because I was embarrassed. I was saying, oh, can I blank that out, Tipex it out, you know, of his book, because he's written this book that really praises me, and people kept sending me the quote. What a shame he called me a backing singer. But that's, you know, I understand it, because that's what I did on that album, on a lot of the bits. But there's a lot of songs where I did the guide vocals. If I do backing, as I say, it's my choice to. Todd Terry's singing on my new tune with him, but he's not a backing singer. He's Todd Terry's legend, you know. You heard it here first, guys. She's not a backing singer, right? From this moment forward. I've been saying it a bit all the time.
So how have you been finding working with people, like in the... just with the lockdown happening and all that sort of stuff? Is it still quite, you've been finding it pretty straightforward with the way the technology is now, or is it still kind of, because you're not together, does that make it difficult at all, do you think?
No, it makes it easy for me, because honestly, right from when I was young, when I did computer studies at school, it's something I was really interested in when it was DOS. I've always been into computers. I've built computers for my kids. It's just something I've always been interested in. When something breaks, when we had to have Windows, I'd sort it out. I'd get a new sound card. I'd do all that. It's just I've always been interested, and I don't know everything there is to know in a studio, but I do know how to. I find a program. I learn it backwards. I know which equipment to get to make my voice better. The best. I use the same microphone. A Rode microphone that suits my voice at home, and it's taken me years to get a good sound because it used to be terrible, and I'd be trying to do it on a cheap and get a cheap microphone and try and get it to work, and it was terrible. So I would have to go to studios, but I used to enjoy going to the studio, I thought, because I couldn't get peace and quiet at home. But when you live without your kids around, and my dogs are snoring on most of my recordings now, but that's about it. I live in a house where I can make as much noise as I want. I don't have, I'm not attached to anybody. I've got fields quite near me, and that's about it. It's not difficult for me to sing here, so it's great. And I would hate now to have to go to a studio, but some people I just love working with in a studio. I loved working with Todd in a studio in London. I went and did some tunes with him, but I'm so much more relaxed when I'm at home. I just sit, I'm still in bed sometimes doing these tunes with my dog snoring on me. As I say, sometimes people say there's a noise.
More relaxing that.
Yeah, sometimes they clock the snoring. They go, "There's a noise running all the way through. Can you redo the vocal?" Yes, and I go, "It's just my dog snoring." But I love the fact because now he's passed away. He's on most of my tunes that I've done in the last year, which is really beautiful. Really.
He's your backing singer?
No, he was black as well. You wouldn't say about the white one. I've got a white one as well.
Yeah, that's true.
She doesn't snore though, to be honest.
I think you hear a lot of people saying that they're quite relaxed in the house, in the home studio, so it kind of comes across in the music as well, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, when I go into my studio downstairs as well, the proper one, but when I go into the proper studio, it's different because I'm stood up and I start acting like I'm in the studio and pretending there's a sound engineer there, even though if there isn't. But when I'm upstairs and I just do my guide vocals in my bedroom when I wake up, and quite often people just say it doesn't need redoing. And because I've got a decent microphone up here, but I don't have all the sound booth and all that around me, which I have downstairs. But honestly, because I've got a good voice for singing, it carries well when I sing. So luckily, most of the time they say that first take, it was just my ideas. A lot of those are used on and I'm really proud of it. But I can hear all the mistakes and stuff. But if they're not bothered, it's like, job done. I did one this morning for Solardo. They're one of the biggest bands in the world at the moment, and that was just done in my bedroom. And I went, "Are you sure?" And they went, "Yeah, all they needed was like 16 bars of singing, and then they put it all the way through the record, and you've got a hit." And so it's like fantastic. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you work with some phenomenal names. It's great to see it, Rowetta. You're just working with these sort of names that you've always aspired to work with now, isn't it?
The young ones as well, because I'm not like a baby. There's loads of young girls coming up, loads of great girls coming up as well. Yeah. But it's just great because a lot of these lads, they might have heard of Happy Mondays, they might not. It's more about the house music I've done because I've got respect now. I've been sampled a hell of a lot. So it's just really lovely, that they're asking to work with me now and being put up with names that I really admire, and they can ask any singer in the world to sing with some of these big. Solardo can work with anybody they want, believe me. Oliver Heldens I've just had a big tune with. He's he's got 3.2 million followers on Facebook, and yet I've just had a tune out with him that I think it's had 2 million downloads on Spotify. That's completely out of my thing, that doesn't normally happen. And it's like, he's just dead cool though, he's like one of the biggest stars in the world, Oliver Heldens, but it shows to have me on his records. Brilliant. That's a bit, he can have anybody he wants, and he's just worked with Katy Perry and stuff. He can work with anybody, and he does. And
that's like Tool Room Records, isn't it? Because we had Mark Knight on a few months back now.
Oh, wicked.
What they guys are doing is phenomenal. It's great to see, and that's a great song. John was letting us hear it earlier on. It's phenomenal. What a great, and it's a throwback to the old rave sound, isn't it?
It is, and Tool Room have been amazing with me, and DJ Mag, and these big names, and they give me hope. Like they did this promo thing where they just kept flashing interviews with me and things I'd said, talking about my sample and saying, they did ask me a question in an email. This is Tool Room. So what's it like to have your voice coming, walking in a club and hearing your voice on a massive tune? Yeah. And then I'd reply, and they'd put my reply as a big thing. Like that day was all about Rowetta, and it's like, it's Tool Room. You don't have to do that. Yeah. And it's part of the promo, but they couldn't have it all about Oliver, and they didn't. My name's all over the video, and it's just it's really cool. It's really cool of them. But Oliver has had a lot to do with that because he's insisted. I just asked him, can you just mention me? Because a lot of people don't mention me when I'm on the records. And he's more than mentioned me. He mentions me in everything. Probably scared because I said it. He's probably scared of not mentioning me because he knows I watch everything he does. But yeah, no, to be involved with Toolroom as well is just amazing. Yeah. And but you know, I would love to work with them again. They said they might put me on one of the panels, which would be gorgeous. But I did something with Mark Knight years ago, but it didn't work out well because the sound engineer recorded it really badly. He asked me to do it again. I think I'd done it at home, went in the studio, and the sound engineer recorded it badly, and I just asked him to email it or send it to Mark Knight. And I never heard anything again, and I was like, oh, I wonder what's wrong with it. And I didn't listen for ages to this, and it pitched it funny and made my voice sound weird, so it looked like it was a piss tape what I'd sent to Mark. And I didn't know what was wrong. So I was like, I'm not speaking to him again. But then he's done really well.
If you want something done, you've got to do it. Want something done right, Rowetta? Is that the
I should have checked it, but this is it when you're in a studio and you're paying for time and whatever, and somebody else is going in after you. I think that's all it was. We were just running out of time, and
you would have been better recording at home in bed.
Say again?
You would have been better recording it at home in bed.
Yeah, I didn't have a setup at home back then, though. That was like it was about 7 years ago. It was years ago. It was before Toolroom were massive. And just did a tune with him. So I was like, I'm just glad. Hopefully, I sent him a message the other day. I'd love to do something with him, you know, not just Toolroom.
Yes, it's a great team they've got over there. It sounds like they've been really supportive as well.
Yeah, really fantastic. I've really enjoyed working on the whole promo thing. You know, we just worked together. It was fantastic, and you know, everybody at 10 o'clock we're doing this and we're doing that, and it works. It's been huge, this tune. It's just if you just use it for Creamfields, for their promo, Creamfields, when they announced the lineup with all these big names, and they've got my voice running all through it, and that was just yesterday or the day before, and nobody knows how it feels, but to me I'm like, wow. I'm not going to lie, for other people it's like, oh, it happens to me all the time, but I'm not going to say that. This for me is a wow, because it's been years since, you know, people used to go, you should get more credit for this and you should be a big star. I don't really care, or I didn't think I did, but in a way it's dead nice when people do credit you. And you know, I don't need to be a big star, I don't want to be the famous bit, but I do enjoy people saying, oh, that's you, or people even wanting to work with me is amazing, because as I say, there's so many brilliant singers out there, and usually they work with me again and again. I might talk a lot and everything, but Bez says that he loves me, and it says I'm the maddest person he knows, which is a bit bad because of all the people he does know. I'm the maddest person he knows, but he does spend a lot of time with me. He chooses to, you know, when there can be a party next door, and he'll come and sit and talk to me all night. So I love my Bez.
I think it's good to see now. Do you think things are changing a little bit for Vocalist, Rowetta? Do you think there's a bit more respect in the way that they'll get pushed to the forefront? And you're saying there's a lot of new vocalists coming through now. Do you think it's such a different world now, isn't it, for getting into the music scene? So
I'll be honest, I haven't got a clue what it's like to just start now, because they've all these reality TV shows and stuff like that, and different ways of getting in. So I don't know, and I really don't think about other people. You have to really concentrate on yourself and not worry, because I think because I just decided I'm not in competition with anybody or anything like that, because I don't have a manager and everything. A lot of these have marketing campaigns and managers, or rich women, mummy and daddies. I've not had any of that. So really, I just have to concentrate on myself, not worry about, you know, if I want to sing with someone, doesn't matter if they're working with somebody else at the moment, cut that out of my mind. It's like, I want to work with Calvin Harris, I would love to. He plays me all the time. He's just actually liked my thing on Instagram. But I think that might happen. But I'm just stepping back.
Sort it out, Calvin. I
love Calvin. I know he's Scottish as well. I've interviewed him actually years ago, and I asked back then. But I know he likes my voice because he plays me all the time. And I've interviewed him when I had a radio show. Right. And but that was years ago.
A great collaboration, you and Calvin Harris together.
Oh no, but I think it will happen. But I'm not going to mind, or I might one day get really drunk on my whiskey and say, "Come on," because I've done that before now, and it works usually. But I don't want to do that. I'm going to sit back and wait for that one, because I just would love him to just, you know, say to me, right, I've got the song, because that's what I said to him: when you get the right song, don't forget. And he said he won't, so I trust he won't, but he might. It's not the end of the world if he doesn't. But I would love to work with him.
Yeah. Who else would you like to work with as well, Rowetta?
If I want to work with, I don't know. I would. I'd like to work with Nile Rodgers, but to be honest, because I've said this and I've met him and I've been on stage with him, and I love him. He's just such a down-to-earth person, but he does work with everybody. He's been working with everybody. Carl Cox I'd like to work because he plays my tunes all the time, and he knows his music so well. So they're dance music. Who else would I like to? I'd love to sing with Liam Gallagher. I just love him. I did Stop Crying Your Heart Out a few years ago. But I don't know. I'd love to do something with Eric Cantona because I just love United. Even though he's not a singer, I'd love to sing with him doing poetry and get Liam on the video like he did that one. I thought it was amazing. So something with Eric Cantona at Old Trafford would be amazing.
That would be amazing, actually. I'd like to see that. What a legend.
But Calvin Harris, and also Calvin works with a guy called Alexander Technique who does a lot of remixes. I've just sent him a vocal, so he's working on that now, Alexander Technique. So I'm hoping maybe Calvin will do a remix on that because they're really good friends. So I think that's going to happen. I've sent them a really good vocal. I'm really happy, one of my best vocals. So fingers crossed.
Awesome.
I think there's been a good shift in the scene recently because although it's been quite a depressing year in some ways, it's brought everybody quite down to kind of a level playing field where even the top names that are usually selling out these huge events, they're looking for a kind of everybody to kind of support each other because it's a realisation how fragile the scene actually is and how the music industry actually is.
Yeah, definitely. But it definitely still is them and us because some people, they survive completely different than others. You know, if you're struggling, it's like remembering your text, remembering the road crew and everything. Because we need people, the big names. We need you. Calvin Harris put a post up the other day on Instagram. We need those big names. Liam's just said something. We need them because they're not going to listen to people that are lower down. It is a level playing field, but there's still the big names can really do something. They're the ones that will make a change. Not me, not anybody else. Not I don't think Sean will make a difference, and Bez from our band. Even your Todd Terry's probably from a different country. I don't know, but you big names, they could make a difference. And then Mel C from the Spice Girls came on television the other day and just went, we've all got to stick together. And she just promoted her album and didn't say what she needed to say for the industry. And I just thought, she's got a big following. She could have really made a difference, you know. But they do live in a bubble. Some of these stars, it's different for them. But I do expect more from your big stars. The
influence they have is major, probably more than anybody in some ways, isn't it? You know, it's a lot of people put a lot of stock in those. Because
I've not got millions and millions of followers, and I don't like to be political because I don't want to spend my day arguing with people. I can't be bothered with talking about whether I'm into conspiracies or not. I do music, I make music, but in a way I have to because that's my life. And that's But no, and I don't have 7 houses all over the world and I have chauffeurs everywhere and all that lot. I'm a normal person and I work really, really hard and I've got kids and stuff like that and making sure my friends are all right. I had a lovely, lovely life before this lockdown, don't get me wrong, and travelling and everything. It's just, it's not, I don't live that completely where you're cut off from everybody and you think that the world, what's everybody going on about? But really, you've never been, you don't know how much a loaf of bread is. That's not me. I don't really know how much loaf of bread is, but
everybody's making their own.
They're about £1. I know. No, but I don't like shopping really, and my son gets stuff like that for me. But
so did you say you write your own music as well, Rowetta?
I always have done, I've always written.
That's amazing.
I always write. Whatever comes out of my mouth is usually something I've written, to be honest, whether it's a melody or a lyric. But so I've always done that. So it just always comes natural. I'm good at melodies. I'm really, really good at melodies. Coming up with a hook, they call it. So this is why I've been sampled so many times because I came up with a hook in 1988, 89, and that gets used. That's the one that's on Boom Boom Pow. It's on Show Me Love. It's on just loads and loads of people have sampled it. Oliver Heldens, it's what he's used. But it's because it's a good hook, the catchy bit, and I'm really good at coming up with catchy bits. So when Solardo sent me something, I think it was last night at first, or yesterday, and I came up with something. I said, these are my first ideas. That's what I always do. Record it, send it them. And he went, can you come up with something a bit more catchy? And honestly, because he said it, about 10 minutes later, I made sure the next one. Because sometimes I just said, I'm not precious about it, but sometimes I just always record my first ideas, and sometimes it's good. But I'd rather someone says something productive. Constructive and that I can work on.
There is a question I like to ask the guests, and just to get an interest in their music taste. What kind of albums are always your go-to albums that have stuck with you over the years? What's the albums that you just never seem to leave the car or your stereo, or what would you say is some of your favourite artists of all time then?
The ones that remind me of when I was a kid, and this surprises people, when I didn't sing, well, a lot of the reason why I didn't sing was the voice that I have doesn't really go with the music I used to like as a kid, and it was punk, and my favourite band when I was 13 was Crass, and it's pretty hardcore punk.
Right.
And it surprises people, but I used to listen on loop to this tune, Mother.
Right.
Yeah. Myra Hindley's on the cover, your very own sweet auntie mother. There she is on the front of the star. Ain't that just a place you wish you were? And that was my favourite band. And I still listen to Crass now. And I have it in my car quite a lot. And Manny got in the car one day and he went, because you wouldn't ever picture me as liking this band. He wouldn't. But I love the Sex Pistols, obviously, never mind the bollocks. Changed my life. But Crass and Never Mind the Bollocks used to play all the time on loop. I liked the Clash. I liked a lot of other bands. I liked the Jam and stuff, but I loved Crass and I loved the Sex Pistols album. I liked other music as well, more musically, but.
Yeah, that's why we like to ask, because it's never what we expect to hear back, is it, John? It's always some like bizarre kind of random album that's not what you're up to right now, you know. So it's always really interesting to hear that.
Before, who makes like really kind of chilled out, laid back house, but he's like really into like thrash punk metal. It's like just total chalk and cheese.
It is, but that's what I was into as a kid, so that's what I would listen to now. Now I do listen, obviously over the years, I've listened to funk, soul, all sorts of music, because of whatever clubs I've gone to with my mates and stuff, and I like all that. That's just the one that really changed me and made me feel, and that's probably why I wanted to be in a band more like a punk band, and that's probably why I'm in Happy Mondays, rather than I could have gone solo and done some like really, you know, like done a Whitney Houston type or Aretha Franklin type music. But I didn't. I'm not from that background. Didn't do gospel and stuff. Probably would have done me better if I had. I probably would have had a much more normal life, whatever normal is. And I probably would have done better. I probably would have been I live in a nice house, but I probably would have had mansions everywhere and fit men in every mansion cleaning it up for me and everything. I would have had a dream life if I'd done, you know, songs like I Will Always Love You, but it just wasn't for me. I do them though at weddings and stuff, when occasionally in balls, because I do a lot of charity balls. And I do enjoy singing proper songs like that. But it's not for me all the time. I like being in a proper rock and roll band. I like being. I think
for someone who originally didn't want to be a singer, you've done pretty well, haven't you? Considering.
Yeah, but do you know? There's a difference though. It's like the singing. I love because I've crafted it and I practice every day. I sing. I do. I actually love that. I feel like it's a gift. None of my family can sing.
Right.
My kids can, but if they wanted to, but they don't. But I'm saying nobody in my family from before me sings.
All right.
So it's a proper gift. And I stopped smoking 8 years ago because I thought I better take it seriously. Che, you know, I go to bed earlier than I used to do because I save my voice. That's enough. What are you doing? You're taking the mickey.
Mummy's attention.
No, he's not. It's something outside. Sorry.
Oh, is it?
It's just someone walking the dogs, and because it's dark, they've got a torch on.
What's going on?
And what would you say inspires you as well? Like when you're sitting down to write music, where would you kind of draw inspiration from? Does it just come from?
It's
like
just the music. Yeah. It's people send me tunes usually, and you get the same one sending me a tune every day and going, "Have you listened yet? Have you listened yet?" And I go, "No, I told you I'm working on a project." And then, but I will, when I listen, I do get sent a lot of tunes. I probably got sent 4 this morning. I get sent tunes all the time because I'm very approachable. And it's like everybody, they got a band in Italy sent me something today. They want something like I did on Step On. And then you get house, people who do house, people who do techno. Drum and bass. I get sent all sorts, so I'm getting from all these different genres, and you've got to be in the mood to sit and listen to it. But I say to them, I usually reply, I'm quite polite, and I say when I'm working on one tune I don't listen to anything else, and that's the truth until I've finished, because I'm writing, and it's very rare I will listen to other music. I don't really go out as well when I'm working on music. I wait till I finish the tune because I take it seriously. Usually do the tune in a day anyway, but if it's a project or something important that's taking ages, then I wait till I finish that. Well, these kids, they don't care, do they? They just go, have you listened yet? Have you listened? But all I do, I put it on, and I usually know within a few bars if you can feel it. I listen to the first minute where it's usually just a beat. And then when it kicks in, it's got to have something that grabs me. I've got to love something about it, or I don't ever go back to it again unless I really like the person or it's a big name. There's some big names I've had to say no to because I just couldn't get into the tune. Awesome. It was even years ago, KLF, What Time Is Love? I didn't like it. And it was number 1 for 9 weeks. And I was sent
that was a biggie.
I know, I messed up there. I should have done it. I used to be like very much. I'm not doing that. I don't like it. I didn't like M People's first one. They sent me "How Can I Love You More." Didn't like it. God. Should have sent me another one that I liked. But no, Mike Pickering came round with a cassette with that on, and I rang up Paul Oakenfold because he was my record label guy then. Right. And I went, I don't really like it. Mike Pickering's just come round with a cassette, and I don't really like it. It's a bit slow and boring. So Paul said, send it me, and I'd let you know what I think. And he agreed with me. Yeah. So I didn't do it.
You can blame Paul then.
No, I'd already said, but I would have done it because Paul was my record label and Perfecto. So I was still with the Mondays, but I was leaving to go and be with Perfecto and be a solo artist. But then the Mondays needed me again for Yes Please, so it didn't happen. But
Sounds like a massive queue of people just waiting to work with you. Anyway, we're going to be busy for some time by the sounds of it.
Yeah, but a lot of them are really rubbish. A lot of them are crap. No, honestly, it's just because I'm very easy to get hold of. It's like people will send me messages for Sean and Bez. It's just really annoying. We don't live in a house together, and and you're more likely. If you really annoy me about it, and can you give this message to Bez? I'll make sure you never meet Bez. I'll make sure you never see Bez if you keep pissing me off because they get really annoying. Or if I send you a load of T-shirts, can you give them to Sean? No, I'm not going to see him. We're not on tour, and even if we were, I don't need a box of T-shirts for Sean. So it's rude anyway. If you're not got anything for me, piss off.
Yeah, you were just saying you don't all live in the same house. God, can you imagine if he's all dead? It'd be absolutely garbage.
Well, we sort of did back in the day when we were recording Pills and Thrills. We were together for a long, long time in the same house, and then on a tour bus in America for 6 weeks. We only stayed in a hotel for a few of them nights. It was mainly on the road. And that's worse than actually living together, being on a tour bus. But I loved it back then. I couldn't do it now with all of them because Sean and Bez don't travel with the rest of the band because Bez does a lot of after parties, so then I'll travel with him if I'm doing them with him. And Sean, he literally arrives just before a gig, and he's gone before I get off stage, usually going back to his kids if possible, or back to bed.
God, it's changed times.
Well, he has to, because if you look, he was a proper addict back in the day, and now he does act more like an older man, and wants to go to bed. You can see he's not like the young kid he was. But me and Bez, you can tell we're still the same. Still that's it. No, but to be honest, because me and Bez were not addicts that way, so people, you can think what you want about Bez, but it was weed he was more addicted to, and he's given that up. And I used to like my cigarettes, and I've given them up. So it's much easier to sit up and talk for a long time if he doesn't smoke weed and I don't smoke cigarettes. I can sing the next day, and he's got a clear head, and it's great.
That's true. So just to kind of round things off then, Rowetta, what can people expect from you again, and where can they find out more about all these projects? Because there's so much going on with different artists and so much going on. Where can the viewers find out a lot more about you then?
Probably Facebook's probably the best place, and Twitter and Instagram, Rowetta, any of them. And if I don't add you on Facebook, it's just because I don't like to have millions of followers that I can't. But you can follow me on Facebook to find out information. I also do the Mondays Facebook page, which has got 250,000 followers. I try and keep that updated with the other and the Instagram. And the management team do the Twitter of Happy Mondays. But we all try to put a lot of content into those. So not just about me. I try and space it out. I mean, I could be sneaky every day and go, I'll just post one about me. And I don't know. I try to make it really fair. And I know it's mainly Bez and Sean, and quite a lot with me, Bez and Sean. But that's because we photograph more and go out more and do more stuff than the rest of the band. But anytime the rest of the band do anything, I don't think of it as a job, but it's like if we're on tour, I always try and get pictures of them. If they're in the mood, they don't like doing loads of stuff as much as the others sometimes.
I just see he's always in the pictures. He's always look super sharp, like Bez and that. It's always kitted out in the finest of gear, aren't they? They just look so fashionable, don't they?
We're really lucky with some of the brands, especially Adidas, who've been friends of ours for years. Just got my little package from Special. I love we do. I don't really ask for much from Special because it is more of a boys' label as well. But Sean had these sliders. They're the flip flops, but sliders. Special sliders. So they sent me a pair and a big towel and a T-shirt that Bez had on the other day, and Bez gave me his Special coat. So I'm happy. I'm happy bunny. But I just nick off the lads.
Brilliant.
They've always looked after us, but because the guy from Adidas who's done so well, Gary Aston, he was a Happy Mondays fan from Blackburn from years and years and years ago. So dressing us in 1999 when we first met him was a dream for him. And we've just stayed really, really close friends. I just went to the Special exhibition in Blackburn where Ian Brown and Dynamo appeared. It was amazing. Sean turned up. Bez was away, or he would have come. But yeah, we're really, really, really close. But yeah, and he also Vivienne Westwood's son dresses Bez as well for stage a lot.
Oh, right.
Okay. Yeah. And his dad was Malcolm McLaren.
Ah, okay.
Joe, yeah.
That's brilliant. I'd love to get dressed by those sort of characters, John. I can barely dress myself, right?
No, I was thinking that I'd barely get dressed.
John, you're lucky John got dressed tonight, right?
I'm in the house coat quite a lot these days.
You don't have to you don't stand up if you're not dressed.
I know I said from my waist.
That'd be brilliant.
I'm the same. I just put this t-shirt on. It's no idea. That's why I can't go and get the dog. I'm like this. Yeah, no, it's
we've been tempted sometimes, Rowetta. Don't get me wrong, because you wouldn't really tell the difference anyway, would you?
No, I like it. That's why I do a lot of them in the morning because I don't mind. I'll do an interview at 7 a.m, but it's like, don't expect me to have full makeup on and dress. I just literally put a bit of eyeliner on, eyebrows and t-shirt.
Thanks a lot, Rowetta, for taking time to chat.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Hopefully we'll see you again in Glasgow sometime.
Yeah, definitely. Just give us a shout if you want tickets for anywhere.
Keep up the great work, Rowetta. What you're doing is fantastic. Just keep chipping away. That brilliant music, all right?
Thanks, Rowetta.
Take care. Lots of love.